Good morning. Namaste. This is Dr. Uma Keduvital, Faculty of Agricultural and Veterinary Sciences, Jayoti Vidyapith Women's University, Jaipur. As you're aware, I'll be taking the course on Metabolism and Bioenergetics Lab. And in this session, we will be again learning about a method for protein estimation. Like in the last session, we had learned one of the most sensitive methods for protein estimation. We had learned about the Lorry method that uses a fallen Kiokalto reagent. Now, in this session, we will actually be using the studying about the Bradford method. So I had told you that Lorry's method is one of the most sensitive methods. So why go for another? The thing is, Lorry's method has got so many interfering factors, and more than that, it takes about 40 minutes. So, including addition of reagents and everything, it will take around 50 minutes around for to complete one set of estimation using Lorry's method. Like you have to keep the chemicals after mixing well, after addition of the reagents, before addition of the fallen Kiokalto reagent. Excuse me. And then you have to add the fallen Kiokalto reagent, and then it has to be incubated in dark at room temperature for 30 minutes. And after that, when the color develops only, we will be able to take the measurement. And this since Lorry's method is a time-consuming process, so many processes have been developed which are less time-consuming as compared to Lorry method. Like even the Lorry method has been modified to form less time-consuming methods, but one of the least time-consuming methods in terms of protein estimation is the Bradford assay. Now, Bradford assay typically uses the Comasi blue reagent in a phosphoric acid medium. So, Comasi blue G250. Now, there are two Comasi blue dyes available. The Comasi blue R250 is the one that is used for protein staining. When you are using CBB method in order to develop your protein gel after Western blotting, then Comasi blue will be used. The Comasi blue R250 will be used. So that why the G250 and the R250? So the G denotes for its greenish tint. The Comasi blue dye, in its unoxidized form, in the unreacted form, it's in a brownish color. But in R250, it'll be a reddish brown in color, and the G250 will be a greenish brown in color. So that is the only difference between these two. Actually, they could be used interchangeably, but for Bradford method, according to the wavelengths that is used, the G250 gives better results. And that also has got faster binding properties. But however, the specificity and the sensitivity of the R250 is better when it's being used for polyacrylamide gels. So now that we know the main advantage of using Bradford method, now let's go into what exactly is Bradford method. So Bradford assay is also actually sensitive enough that not as sensitive as Lorry method, but it can detect in the same range, like it can detect about 5 to 10 milligrams of protein per ml. But it's fairly accurate, and the major advantage, as I've already told, is that like if you have a sample that is out of range, you can actually take it from there, dilute it, and then again get the samples done. So the retesting can be done in like minutes rather than waiting for this 30 minutes and 40 minutes and then finding out that the blue color that is developed is so intense that you cannot read it using a spectrophotometer. You will have to dilute it further, or rather do the assay again further, because once the color has developed and then you want to dilute it, it gives a lot of errors as compared to when you're diluting your sample and then adding the reagents in the proper ratio, because you have your copper reagent, you have your phosphomolybdate and phosphotungstate reagents, and then you are having all of these in a particular ratio. Now, if you are adding water in order to dilute the already developed color, that is going to give you a lot of error in terms of your background, the unreacted compound, because in other samples which had a lesser value, there was a lot of unreacted reagents left in your sample. But now if you are diluting the reacted samples, there won't be any unreacted sample, and so your background values will change, and so that is going to give you an error. So you're not supposed to do that when you are doing a protein assay and you find that your sample is like extra diluted, then like extra concentrated, you are supposed to do the assay again because of this high volumes of the reagents used. Like you are having only like about 1 ml of the reagent, but 1 ml of your sample, but you are using like 5 ml of your reagents, and then again couple of ml of your Follin Thiocalcio reagent. So they add up to the volume of the mixture, and so because of this reason, you are not supposed to just take your sample and dilute it. You have to actually redo with a diluted sample in terms of protein estimation, and that makes it difficult when you are taking an assay method that takes about 30 minutes, 40 minutes for it to be completed. Now, Bradford assay, the color develops so immediately. You add your protein sample, you mix it, and the color has developed. So no incubation period is required. You just need to add your protein samples, mix it well, and go and take your readings. So that is the major advantage of Bradford method. So this assay, the principle, it's based on the observation that the absorbance maximum for an acidic solution of Kumasi Brilliant Blue G250, it shifts from 465 nanometers to 595 nanometers. I had told you that CBB blue is a brownish colored liquid. So it has got an absorption maxima at 465 nanometers, and then it will shift to 595 nanometers when it binds to protein. So when it binds to protein, this dye makes a color, forms a colored compound that is giving a deep blue color that has got an absorption maxima around 600 nanometers, like 595 nanometers. So both the hydrophobic and ionic interactions stabilize the anionic form of the dye, causing a visible color change. And this assay is useful since this has got an epsilon value that is constant over a huge concentration range. Like the epsilon value, I had told you what epsilon is in the video for the spectrophotometer method. So epsilon is the molar extinction coefficient, and that is constant for a compound, but only for a certain concentration range. I mean, when the absorbance is going above a certain value, definitely the slope is going to change. I had told you, no, that only for a certain range only you are going to get a linear phase, and in that linear phase only you will be able to get a constant epsilon value. But for Bradford reagent, what happens is this range for the of concentration for which you are going to get your epsilon as a constant value is very stable. Like it's a very huge range. So you will be able to use this for about like 10-fold time concentration range as compared to what you can use it for Lorry. So I'm not talking about the minimum concentration, I'm talking about the maximum concentration up to which you'd be able to use this. So now if we are coming to the reagent preparation. So what all are the reagents that need to be used. So Bradford reagent is actually so for the Bradford reagent, sorry. Let me just share this. Yeah. So this is the composition for your Bradford reagent. So if you are using the Bradford reagent, you have to dissolve 100 milligram of Comasi Brilliant Blue G250 in 50 ml of 95% ethanol, and then add 100 ml of 85% weight by volume phosphoric acid. This phosphoric acid gives it the acidic environment, and only in acidic environment this is happening. So this is also kind of pH sensitive, but it is not as pH sensitive as Lowry method. So then after that, it will be diluted to 1 liter. So again, I had told you earlier, most of these methods are highly light sensitive. So you are supposed to keep it in dark. So Bradford reagent will be prepared in a dark colored bottle, like a black or dark brown colored plastic bottle or an amber colored glass bottle. You're supposed to prepare it in there. So what is normally done, and this reagent is heat sensitive, it has to be stored in fridge. So what is normally done is you will prepare this reagent in a cold room. Once the dissolution is done, you will keep it on a magnetic stirrer and put the magnetic bead inside the reagent bottle and let it dissolve, like let it shake at least overnight in a cold room at 4 degrees Celsius. You are supposed to do that, and only then the reagent will be perfect. Like it needs to be stirred thoroughly for the mixture to dissolve properly. Now, otherwise, the optional method is to add drop by drop 1 molar NaOH until the dissolution is proper. Like if the acidic environment is too high also, like if it's going too acidic also, the dissolution might not happen. So under such circumstances, you could add NaOH in a drop by drop fashion and then see at what point the dissolution is happening without the color of the reagents changing from that brownish, greenish brown color. So once the reagent has been prepared, then again you will need the BSA because the standard curve will be prepared with BSA in this case as well. So here also actually you will be adding about 5 times the, like if you are adding 1 ml of your sample, you will be adding 5 ml of Bradford reagent. But one of the another major advantage of Bradford method is that it can be scaled down so that you can use much lesser volumes of protein samples and much lesser volumes of your reagent for each of the measurements that need to be done. So in Bradford reagent, you could always use 200 microliter of sample and then add for like 1 ml of Bradford reagent. And once you're mixing it, the color will be formed. But again, Bradford reagent is also highly light sensitive. And so the entire reaction has to be performed in dark. If you are keeping it out in air or in light for higher, longer periods of time, you are going to get an erroneous result for this one. So that is something that needs to be taken care of. But once these things are taken care of, Bradford method is one of the most simplest method for estimation of proteins. And again, Bradford method, because of its simplicity to use and the simplicity to prepare the reagents, like Lowry method, again, you have solution A, solution B, solution C, and all of these together are mixed freshly in order to use the reagent. And this mixed reagent cannot be kept. Like how much ever you need, you will have to calculate the volumes to mix accordingly. And once you have done that, you will need to prepare the solution and use it as fast as possible. You cannot keep it for like you need some reagent tomorrow, so let's mix it and keep it today itself. That's not possible in case of Lowry's reagent. That the reagent C has to be prepared freshly, and whatever is left of it has to be discarded. Now, Bradford reagent, you have only this one reagent. So it's much easier in terms of handling. Like you can prepare the reagent and it's stable in, if you are keeping it refrigerated for like months together, it can stay. The major problem is if you are like using a contaminated pipette and that has got some protein in it, then your reagent is going to turn blue-green in color, because it reacts even at even if you are keeping it in fridge. After some time, it will react with the protein and the color will develop, and then you will have to discard that entire bottle of reagent. That is one of the major problems that you will be facing with Bradford reagent. But unless you are taking that into consideration, Bradford method is one of the easiest methods for protein estimation, and you get quite reproducible results also with Bradford, even though the reproducibility might be slightly lesser as compared to Lowry method, because Lowry's method is highly sensitive and highly specific. It gives very reproducible results, but it's a time-consuming method, and that it's disadvantage. So once these factors have been taken care of, Bradford method is one of the most preferred methods for protein estimation in lab, in routine lab work. So that is it about Bradford's method for determination of protein concentration. So here again, you will be making a standard curve for BSA, and then after that, you will be getting the absorbance value for your unknown and determining the concentration of protein in the unknown sample that has been given to you. That will be the expected result of this experiment. So that'll be all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.